Hi, my name is Isabella Johnston, host of the Intern Whisperer, which is brought to you by Employers for Change. Today's tip of the week continues our focus about unconscious bias. This week, we will focus on the factors that play within our unconscious mind and create bias. The first factor is how our brain categorizes information. Humans have a natural tendency to assign everything into a relevant category. This happens unconsciously, but this categorizing also leads us to assign a positive or a negative association to each category. These categories allow our brains to know what to do or how to behave, but classifications often can cause us to overgeneralize. The second factor is heuristics. This is defined as enabling someone to discover or learn something for themselves. An example is utilizing a hands-on or interactive heuristic approach to learning. We often rely on automatic information processing to go through our day, involving little conscious thought. These mental shortcuts allow us to exert little mental effort in our everyday lives and make swift judgments when needed. The last factor that I identified as one of the methods of categorizing is social and cultural dynamics. Our upbringing and social environment, as well as any direct and indirect experiences with members of various social groups, imprint on us. Think like baby ducks. We see something, the first thing we see, that's our mom. Well, that's how infants also get their imprints into their mind. We do the same thing even as adults. These shape our perceptions both consciously and unconsciously. Welcome to the Intern Whisperer. Our show is all about the future work, and today's guest is Juan Rivera. Hi, and today's guest here at the Intern Whisperer is Juan Rivera, and I'm really excited to have him as a guest. I've known him for quite a while. I know him through the startup community of gamers, actually. And he also is a game developer. That's how we met at a game jam. He works at the Melrose Center as a senior digital media design instructor at the Orlando Public Library. And the Melrose Center offers an array of resources that include STEM and tech focus, from creating games, podcasting, a makerspace, and so much more that inspires and supports creativity and innovation. So welcome to the show, Juan.
Hi, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like you to tell our listeners about you using only 5 words and why those 5 words. So you and I had talked about this in advance. We have them down. So if you need support, I'm here. But we'll start with determined.
So I think I'm so very determined. Like when I focus on something, if I want to make something happen, some type of project that I'm working on, it's like I very determined to get it done. I do whatever I need to do. I spend hours. Sometimes my wife sometimes comes up to me and she's like, I need attention too, and I'll be working on something for many days, and she can tell that I'm really focused on something. So sometimes, we get into those situations where, this is really important and I need to get this done. So that's all I focus on for a little bit, even to a fault sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Loyal? Why loyal?
So when I grew up, I feel like my father wasn't that loyal, and I think that's something that human nature, you get into, and I'm talking about relationship right now, but it also carries through the jobs that you do, the people you work for, your friends and everything like that. I think I don't say things I don't mean to say. I let people know, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, and it's usually like my friends and my family and everything like that. Just if I tell you I'm gonna do something, hey, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be there for you. You know what I mean? No matter what comes up. You know what I mean? Even my relationship with my spouse and my wife and everything like that is something that I value very much, to be loyal and be there for her and my family.
Oh, that's a good quality. Hardworking. kind of tied into determined, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like tying into the same thing. I work real hard for, um, the achievements in my life. I work real hard in relationships. I work real hard at my job. I think a lot of times nowadays, I don't know if it's a new generation thing. I think that uh, it's like a lot of people expect things to just happen, but things don't happen unless you work for them or you're willing to do something for them. You know what I mean? So I think that's where that comes in. And I honestly think that that's something that we're missing nowadays in this new generation, where they want to get a lot for less work. I think,
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Yes, because that is why we have people go and shop for us instead of going to a store and buying it ourselves. I'm going, really? Oh my gosh. That is like,
exactly. Yeah,
I could
exactly.
understand it if there was some type of a disability, but no, I just don't want to leave my house and go
Yeah,
to grocery shop.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's and I think that's a problem, that,
Yeah.
hopefully I'm kind of hoping that, you know, I have a situation where in my house I have adult children,
Mhm.
and and I'm hoping that when they get out in the world, they'll learn, oh yeah,
How to take care of
how to
themselves?
take care of themselves, type of thing. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah. I'll have to tell you about a conversation. I had said that, well, I'll just jump it in here. That was one of the things that I had said to my parents. I said, you guys did a great job of raising us. You taught us to be resilient. You taught us to be able to be independent, to take care of ourselves. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
But, they didn't give us no slack. Like I
Yeah.
said, oh, I want contacts. They went, well, you're going to have to get a job to do
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
And they did. They made me go
Exactly.
do that. They made us go pick oranges in the orange grove with the migrant workers. They did a lot of stuff that helped shape our character and be grateful for
Yeah.
a
And
lot.
I did something similar with my children. It's like I told them, as long as you're in school, I'll
Mhm.
take care of you. If you're not, if you don't want to go to school, that's fine, but you'll have to take care of yourself. You have to get a job and everything like that. And I even have one of my kids who I have her pay rent. She pays rent at home, and
Good. That's good.
she's looking to move out. I gave her a few years to say, hey, in a few years, you have to find a place to live. I think if I don't want her to go anywhere, I
No,
really don't. But I don't think that I'm doing her any service by
no,
sheltering her. You know what I
no.
mean? So it's like she has to leave the nest and
She
learn on
does.
her own. You know what I mean? So I think that's the only way that she uh will learn.
You are exactly right. Exactly right. So that tied into being a good father because,
Yeah.
you're helping to shape those behaviors.
Correct. Yeah. And that's also, you asked me earlier off camera, people who or things that shape me, who I am, and
Mhm.
everything like that. And one of those things was my father, and he was a great dad. I don't want to say that, but he wasn't a really good husband. And
Mhm.
um, even though because he wasn't a good husband at times, it put us as children to certain scenarios and certain conditions that
Right.
weren't conducive to a healthy lifestyle. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So um I always said to myself, I'm going to try to be different. I'm going to be different than that. I'm going to be a good dad. I'm going to, make sure that I'm loyal, make sure that I'm there for my
Mhm.
family and my kids, um, and help them not be an absent person, a person that
Right.
it's only there certain days. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So I'm always going to be there. I want to be there for my kids and my family, my life, um, and that's my legacy. That's who's going to surpass me, them. So
Yeah, absolutely. You use the words innovative and smart. We'll combine them together. Why did
okay.
you choose those?
Because I think I'm pretty creative when it comes to I always have these conversations with the people I work, and I'm really involved into virtual reality development,
Mhm.
and teaching and classes and sharing the technology with the public and everything like that. But I always have my conversations with my coworkers about what's the future like, right? So, and we come up with these ideas that
Mhm.
I have no means of like putting them together and actually doing myself without a large investment or something like that, right? That I'm not ready to make that commitment yet. But I
Mhm.
come up with ideas sometimes that then a few months later, oh, here they are.
Mhm.
This is the future. And I'll tell you a little story about. I think I invented the iPad.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So back in 1990, I think it was 1997 or 1998. Um, I'm really, and this, you might not know this about me. I'm really involved into, I used to be. I'm getting back into it now, into comic book. I'm an artist. I draw,
Oh, yeah.
and I used to, back then, I used to want to write and produce my own comic book and
Mhm.
publish it and everything like that, high school kids trying to do their thing. And we had meetings with friends, and we were trying to come up with what the future of comic books was going to be like. We were
Mhm.
like, you know, what's the next type of comic book? So we came up with having a digital comic book back then, and we were
Mhm.
like, well, this digital comic book, how would people use it? And we were like, well, on a computer. Oh, well, you don't want to go to your computer and do it. Well, how about if we come up with some type of device that they hold on their hand,
Mhm.
and then they can read the images on the device, and then maybe they swipe their hand on the screen to change the pages or something like that. So like a screen that they would have on their hand so they can view the comic books. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we were like, well, we don't think a lot of people would invest money on something like that. It's possible, like a touchscreen on a computer, you know what I mean? But I don't think people would invest money on that one. And so we were like, well, then people would buy it if maybe they could do more than just look at comic books. Maybe they could, I don't know, like surf the internet or
Mhm.
look at ads or something like that. So I think that was the moment
And
that
when was this?
it's back in like 1997,
Okay, then
1998.
yes, you were way ahead of it because I did a real quick search here and it
Yeah.
says the iPad itself actually traces back to 2004 when designer Jonathan Ive and others created a new tablet prototype.
There you
So
go.
you were visionary.
Yeah.
There you go.
Back then.
Yeah, you only, and it's surprising. We always think, oh, if I only had money to do this. Well, some things, yeah, that might be the case. But that's when the MacGyver of anybody
Yeah.
kicks in and you go, okay, I'm going to build this. And I only have gum and a piece of twine, right? And now I got to make it blow up.
Well, no, I mean that's really exciting about what's going on right now in the world too. That we have access to so many tools where you can do that cheaply. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you can
Yeah.
actually come up with these prototypes and these ideas, and they don't have to be very expensive. So
Hmm. I can actually see, yeah, a comic book being something that's definitely digital. It's online. It's almost like a movie. But I think that if you can interject yourself as the character in it, kind of like what they do in movies, it's, which ending do you want? Pick the ending, right?
yeah.
Then you begin to see yourself as that superhero, which has to feel different than a game.
Yeah.
It's a comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys, well, we haven't gotten there yet, but I'll save this question. I'll come back.
Okay,
I'll
no
ask
problem.
later. All right. So where did you go to school? You can pick wherever you want to start. How did you end up to where you are now? What's that journey been like?
I think it was long
That's
for me.
okay.
Yeah, it was very long. So I'll start with high school.
Okay.
I graduated from Boone High School here in local Orlando, Florida. And at the moment, like I said, in high school, I was really involved in the arts, and I went to, drawing classes and painting classes and all that stuff. And that journey was actually really interesting, learning about drawing and painting and graphics and digital art and all that stuff. I was, that motivated me to continue that into college, to get into graphic design and come up with ads and stuff like that. And so soon after high school, I went into Valencia Community College, and I went to
Which
the
campus?
East Campus.
Well, here
Nice.
we are at
Here we
East Campus.
I actually came here to East Campus and I was part of they didn't have this nice building then though. We're talking about like
Oh,
19,
this is
yeah.
it's still relatively new, we'll call it.
But I did a lot of I followed that track. I took the
Mhm.
classes for art and graphic design. And then I got married, had children, had to put school to the back burner for many, many years. Every once in a while, we'll come back and take a course here and there. But I continue that same track. I wanted to get into graphic design. Eventually, life happens. I got divorced and I had 2 children and not enough money to support a divorce and 2 children in my own place. And so I had to move back home and I lived with my mother for a little while. But I decided that I needed more, so I decided to finish my schooling, went back to school. And my mother helped me out a lot and to be able to do that. But I wanted to go to UCF. I wanted to move on from Valencia. I did what I needed to do here. I wanted to move on to UCF and I wanted to get a bachelor's degree in graphic design, but I couldn't find a clear track for graphic design specific. Like it was either, at the moment, it was either like web design or game design but I couldn't, it wasn't easy for me to find that track that I needed to follow. So I came across visual language, okay? And I read the description and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. It's about 3D animation and
Is that under the game track?
No, it's digital media. It was under the digital
I
media
think they still
track.
have it out there under that.
They still have it on the digital media, but I think it's called 3D animation now. But at the time it was called visual language. And it was a pretty intense program. They still have it at UCF, where you go into the program for 2 years. During those 2 years, you have to interview to get into the program. They have to look at your portfolio. And it's kind of like getting into a job. So the whole 2 years was kind of like working on a studio, And it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. I learned a lot about not only 3D animation, but also how to work with other people. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that is lacking nowadays. I mean, I don't follow what schools are doing, so I'm not aware of what's going on now. But at the time, back in 2011, 2012, once I graduated, the skills that I learned about working with other people was just as valuable as the digital media skills that I learned in the school. You know what I mean? And what I found at the moment was that even though it was like kind of like a wax on, wax off kind of experience, because you didn't know you were learning this, but you actually did learn this. People skills, and I thought that at the moment nobody else was doing that. UCF had this program that I didn't know that I learned this valuable skill, but then at the end I was like, I recognized that. I was like, oh, hey, wow, this is something and that not a lot of people get to experience in school, to be able to work with other people in a team. And the whole program was ran in a way where the faculty was like the production managers of a project. And we had 2 projects we had to create during 2 years, 2 movies that we created. We split up we worked with the same people for 2 years.
How long is the movie?
5 minutes.
Oh my God, 2 years to produce 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
30 kids, 15 did one movie and 15 did another kid. So really it was only 15 of us.
Yeah.
But 2 years because we also had to learn. We had to learn how to do it. And then we did it, So it was a wonderful skill where I learned how to do 3D animation and 3D modeling and rigging and everything like that. And I actually fell in love with rigging and programming, which not a lot of people like to do because it's tedious and you have to pay attention to detail and everything like that. And that's what I like to teach now. I like to teach those programming and rigging classes. For those of you who don't know, rigging is the process of preparing a 3D animation character for animation. So that way it's easier for the animator to do what they need to do to animate the character.
Yeah, it's putting the skeleton inside of the model,
Correct.
and then the animator makes them dance.
Correct. Exactly. So after I graduated we finished our movie and everything. We graduated. We went to we submitted the movie to several different film festivals, and we got some awards for the
Really?
movie, for the movie we created. And then I went back to work,
Yeah.
At the moment I was working at Disney. I worked for, I've had many different jobs.
It's hard to get a job at Disney if you're in animation
In
too.
animation, I wasn't an animator though.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
make that clear.
Okay.
I was working at attractions at the moment.
Gotcha.
I wanted to get into like the animation program and everything, but Disney doesn't have an animation program here.
Mm-hmm.
Which when I was going to school, I was single and I had 2 kids. And my ex-wife lived here in Orlando. So even though I was going to school and I really wanted to go to Pixar and I wanted to go to all those different things, unfortunately, I wasn't able to because I couldn't leave my kids and I couldn't take them with me. So I had to just, get another job. So I worked for, and the jobs that I worked for were pretty interesting because I worked for Disney. I was a lifeguard, and then I left there and I went to work for the Richard Petty driving experience. And then through working there, I became a race car driving instructor. So
nice.
So I would take people around the racetrack and give them rides in exotic cars like Porsches and Lamborghinis and
good stuff.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. But it wasn't what I wanted to do. So through that job, I was able to get into their art department and I did some of the ads for promotions and stuff like that. And then continuing from there, I met people in the industry where they took me from there. And I went, moved from one job to the other, where I ended up here at I worked for an R&D company one time designing products, for cell phones and stuff like that. And then I got this job at the Melrose Center as an instructor through a contact that I knew, and I went to the interview and everything like that. And this was it. I was like, oh, this is the place I need to be. I can do all the things that I want to do. I can, create. I can reach out to people. I can teach. And I was very happy being there at the Melrose Center. So that's my journey to where I ended up here.
Yeah, and all of those things set you up for being able to walk right into that job. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, perfect.
So what is the Melrose Center? Tell us about it.
So the Melrose Center is primarily it's kind of like a co-working space. So it's a place that we have available at the library that people can come in and work on their projects, specifically speaking, digital media based type of projects. So we give you access to all of the resources you need there to be able to bring that project to life. All right, whatever you can think of. We give you access to computer workstations that are loaded with creative software like the entire Adobe suite.
Is that all of the computers, like in that main area, the big open area too?
All of them have the Adobe suite. They have 3D modeling software, game engines, audio engineering software like the ones you were talking about, Audacity and Logic, Pro Tools, and because it is part of like the library system, a lot of all of the resources are available with your library card. They're not, you don't have to pay anything extra. So pretty much what we're trying to do is remove any barriers for you to thank you. Yeah. Remove any barriers for you to be able to create what you need to create. You no longer have to own the expensive equipment. We have it, so you can come and use it. We don't, just
and then just so our listeners know, for those that are in Orlando, this is like an open station. You pretty much just walk up to the table and you can start doing it. You don't have to check it out. But I know you also have another room over there that's AR, VR stuff.
We do. So that's where I work. We have a game development lab. And in the game development lab, we give you access specifically for game development kind of devices and resources. Developers need that so they can test their products, so they can test their games, So we have Android tablets, we have VR headsets, computer workstations. We have these really nice Alienware laptops that you can use to develop. We have, Orlando, Florida is the capital of simulations. A lot of the research simulations get done here for the armed forces and everything like that. So being here, and those are the primary jobs that we have available here in Orlando, Florida. We actually have a simulator rig that you can utilize to develop any type of simulator. This simulator rig, you can check it out, and it has steering wheels, it has pedals, different types of pedals, it has levers and joysticks all in one workstation that you can use to
and that's a lot of money, just so our listeners know. That's a lot of money. And when you don't have to buy it, and you can just use your library card and come down there and do it. Orlando Public Library is known to be a 5-star library, and I can definitely see why, based on what you have to offer from the Melrose Center.
Yeah, and and like you said, it's all available.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's great. I know there's some maker space. There's a sewing lab.
Correct.
There's like 3D printing. You have so much that's available.
I can go through the whole list if you want.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So we also have a fully equipped video studio. Studio with currently green screen and Blackmagic 4K cameras. It even has a control room studio that you can switch camera feeds during your recording live, for ideal for like interview type of recordings. We also have a fully equipped audio studio where you can record live music, including a band. The recording area, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
We actually record a podcast there called Real to Real. So check it out.
Yep.
And we also do another event called Melrose in the Mix there at the audio studio, where we invite a local performer to perform a very intimate show at the Melrose Center. We record it, and then we actually Melrose in the Mix is also a TV show. We produce it at the Melrose Center, and it gets air on the local channel. I think it's the UCF PBS channel or something like that. So we produce that there as well. And I bet that the same studio that we produce the show in, it's available for patrons to just use and record.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I already have an idea. I'm going, yep,
See,
that's
right,
I'm going, okay, let's go do this. Yeah.
We have also a fully equipped photo studio with Canon 7D cameras and a 6D with different backdrops and all types of lighting equipment. We just recently got a boom for a light that you can hover above and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about that studio, but I know we have a lot of the equipment. In addition to the workstation, like I said, we also have sound booths, and we're getting a few more right now, so you can do like a podcast in a sound booth. And what else do we have? Oh, we also at the Melrose Center, they hire a lot of industry professionals. This is where I come in. We have a game development lab. I am the instructor there, and what I do is I also teach classes throughout the month on the equipment that's available there for you to use it. So again, to remove another barrier. So, let's say you have an idea and you want to bring that, that product to life, but you didn't know how to use we have a motion capture suit that you can do to record animations.
Tesla suit.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, it's the perception neuron.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to make sure I say that because it's a local company.
Yeah. That's okay. A little shout out.
Yeah. So, and so you can use the suit, but if you don't know how to use it, you can attend my class. I'll show you how to set it up, how to record it, how to even retarget the animation that you record from the software into your own character. So that's the type of classes that we teach there. We teach Photoshop, Illustrator, Unity, Blender, all live and or virtual classes, but with a live instructor, not recorded classes that you can attend to. And we have also, in addition to digital media, we have a maker space, like you mentioned, the Fab Lab, and in there we give you access to hands-on tool for you to actually create something like 3D printers. We have CNC machines, laser cutters actually, and other hand tools for
Mhm.
crafting and creating your own projects like in real life. So
I love that. I love it. I love it. So we're going to switch into a different question. Some of them you kind of already hit on, but we're going to go and drop some of these in here. Who in your life has had the biggest impact?
I would say my mother. My
Okay.
mother has had the biggest. I can't forget my father either. I mean, he's had a big impact in my life as well. But my father, in a way where, hey, I don't want to do that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The things that he had done. And again, I want to clarify, he's not a bad person. He's not a bad father. He, a child of the 60s, and they had a different life back when I was younger, and life was different. Men was allowed to do certain things and women weren't allowed to do certain things. So that's a product of society at the moment, I guess, is what I say about my father. Okay.
Yeah.
I love him and I respect him and everything like that. And he's still very much in my life. But I decided that I wanted to go a different way, you know? So that's how he impacted my life. My mother impacted my life in a way where she was caught in a situation where she just felt like she couldn't stay there. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I was born and raised there for 15 years. And during that time, my mother had to leave. She just couldn't be there anymore. So she uprooted us and moved us over here, her and her 3 children, to Orlando, Florida. And this is where I've been ever since, right? I was 15 years old.
Did she know anybody here?
She had a cousin.
Okay, well, she had some sense of family. That's good.
Yeah, so she had a cousin here. And I was 15. I'm 45 now. So that was 30 years ago. Okay. Yeah. So she moved us here. We didn't know any English.
Wow.
We didn't know, all 3 of us. My sister's older.
Well, let's say 4, including your mom.
Well, she knew English.
She did.
Yeah, she knew, because this is what part of the story. She grew up before she was in Puerto Rico. She grew up in Chicago. Born. I don't think she was born there. I think she just grew up there. She moved there very young, and she grew up there, and then moved back when she was very young. So she knew English. She was very fluent in English, but her kids weren't. My older sister started high school in, I want to say 10th grade, maybe 11th grade. And I started in 9th grade. That's when we moved here. I started in 9th grade. And
that's a hard time for kids.
Yeah. And my younger brother started in middle school. So it was a little bit easier for him to acclimate to the change of culture and language and everything like that. But for me and my sister, it was a little bit harder.
It was hard. It was very hard.
So, back then, I don't know if they still do, they had a program called
ESOL.
Yeah.
They do.
And we would go into the ESOL program. And one thing that my sister learned very quickly was that in the ESOL program, at the moment, I'm sure they're wonderful now, but at the moment, it was a way for, because it was all Spanish kids, we were all the same language. So in the ESOL class, even though we were trying to learn English, we were surrounded by Spanish. Yeah. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword. We're supposed to learn English, but we're all Spanish-speaking people, and we can't really speak Spanish anywhere else. Right. So that's how we communicate with one another. And she learned very quickly. She was like, I'm not going to learn English if I'm not around English, So I think 2 or 3 months into the class, she talked to the administration, and they let her get out. And she went to regular English classes and everything like that. I stayed the whole year, but after the whole year, I saw how much that was like a good
was helping her
for her being my older sister. So then the next year they wanted me to put into ESOL classes, and I opted out. I said, no, I want to go into regular classes and everything like that. And my mother had a full-time job. And when we got home from school, we didn't know what we were listening to in the classes. We didn't understand English. We had a translator that would tell us and everything like that. But a lot of the notes were written on the board. So we would fanatically write whatever we thought we hear in English, or whatever we wrote from the board, we would write it down. My mom every night would sit down with us, and she would translate everything for us, so that we could understand what we were learning, all 3 of us, mind you. And So we were able to kind of like learn through that experience, and her hard work to
Yeah.
be able to do this. So yeah, she really shaped.
Yeah. That's a big sacrifice too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. So you obviously have carried that over into your own raising your own kids. So what would you want to be remembered for?
So I think primarily I want to be remembered as a good father,
Yeah.
somebody that was there for his children. He was supportive and helped them succeed in life, and they're my legacy. So
I'm pretty sure that they have that lesson. Yeah. So we're going to take a moment and acknowledge our sponsor, and we'll be right back. Our sponsor is Transcend Network here.
Transcend Network helps early-stage startup founders find product-market fit through weekly experiments, receive fundraising support, and build a global founder-investor network for EdTech and the future of work technologies. The Intern Whisperer is affiliated with Employers for Change, and we thank Transcend Network for being a sponsor of our show.
Okay, in the second half of our show, we talk about the future of jobs and the industries in 2030. What do you think 2030 is going to look like, Juan? Because you're working in an amazing place where you get to always see cool innovation. You're active in the game jams, and you're always coming for those things. Pretty sure that you follow a lot of trends.
I do. Have you seen the new Apple Vision Pro?
I didn't watch the program, but I did watch the video.
Okay.
So yeah.
So the Vision Pro is a new type of VR headset.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And the things that this thing can do, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But and I just did it myself.
You have that technology down there yet?
We do. We do. We don't have the Vision Pro, but we have something similar.
Okay.
A little bit older.
Okay.
And let me tell you what it is. And I just did it myself. I called that a VR headset.
Yeah.
But the Vision Pro is not a VR headset at all. Okay. What it is a spatial computer. So, and what these devices are eventually going to do, and I believe this, is that they're going to replace your desktop computer. They're going to replace, so so you can compute anywhere. You can use your computer anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the headset. And
so I wouldn't have a computer. I wouldn't even be using my phone.
And you wouldn't even be using your keyboard.
Okay.
So that's what this is a spatial computer. So what it is in the future, I believe that this is going to be the new way to compute, right? Because there's advantages. There's disadvantages right now. So the disadvantages are that you do have to wear some type of headgear to be able to visualize your computer. Okay. But I think that in the future, the headgear is going to get more comfortable. It's going to get lighter, and it's going to be a wearable computer, something that you have
like sunglass light,
kind of like sunglasses or something like that. Yeah, that you eventually, right? But we have to go through this hardship to learn if there is even a market. You know what I mean? And it is expensive, right? But what this is going to allow you to do is, if you have it on and you're walking around, you'll be able to have like ads come up, or which I think it's not a good example, but not ads, but information about what you're looking at. You're going down the street and you'll be able to see, okay, there's a Taco Bell around the corner, this way they have a special today, something comes up or whatever, on your headgear that you have on. So I think this is the first steps of that technology for 2030.
So can people see that? If I have this device on and it's like the weight of a pair of sunglasses, can people see what I'm seeing?
So it depends on the headset. Right now, no. So like the Vision Pro, you cannot. So Vision Pro.
You know where I've gone? You have no idea.
No.
So I'm going to throw it out here.
Go ahead.
So I can already see, because people enjoy the privacy of having their own phone and being able to lock it down and their computers, and they think they're locking stuff down. But some people do things that are on the dark web, and they cross over into areas that they shouldn't do.
Correct.
So I'm sitting here going, so would they be able to watch pornography? Would they be able to watch really, sinister things like that?
Of course.
And then what I'm thinking is, would people be able to see what you're seeing? So I
don't think so.
Privacy is still not like I am not for any of those things. They're all bad. In my opinion, they're bad. So
I don't- I don't
yeah.
think so, because currently,
Yeah.
I don't know what's the future look like. I don't know if they're gonna implant some type of lenses in your eyes, even if they do. the
Okay,
lenses.
dude, you have got to watch Black Mirror.
Okay, I don't know.
They do
See,
that.
look
They
at that.
actually put this little thing, it's the size of a penny. They put it
Yeah.
on here. And then because everything is kind of embedded into us, like boom, you sit back and then there's it's like contacts and they go right over your eyes and you're like in it.
So even so, like even if
Yeah.
that actually happens, nobody can really see it from the outside world. Only you can see it. So
Yeah.
there is the privacy there where you're the only one that's able to visualize this, right? Even if you have glasses on, unless they're like sitting right next to you and listening to what you're doing, you know,
Yeah, because
or
like somebody can look over your shoulder and see your
they
phone.
can see your phone, right?
Yeah,
But I think with glasses on, that's even more private, you know, because it's
Maybe.
right on your face, maybe, right? But right now, currently, the only way you can see it is by putting a screen in front of you.
Mhm.
Okay. And this so that screen actually, you cannot see through it.
Yeah.
All right. For example, but what they're doing is they have cameras. There's like a bypass camera
Mhm.
that projects on that screen your real world.
Yeah.
So even though the Vision Pro, you look at it and it looks like it has your eyes there,
Mhm.
their eyes are actually another screen facing the other way. There's another screen facing the other way that is projecting your face onto it. So other people, so maybe you have presence to other humans. It's like real presence, even though you're not looking at them.
Mhm.
You have the goggles on or whatever. So it's kind of like a pass-through thing that projects your face on the front of it.
Okay.
So anyway, all that to say,
I'm going to come down and have you do a demo and show it to me.
okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have that one. The one that I have over there,
I still want to see what new toys you have down there.
correct.
Yeah.
And it's called the Magic Leap. You heard of Magic Leap?
Yes.
So the Magic Leap was the first iteration of this special computer. All right. Even though, I don't know how popular they are right now in the industry or whatever.
And something happened to that company too.
Something happened to it. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure. I don't
Yeah, I
follow that.
think that they either got bought or they had to reorganize. Something happened.
But the Vision Pro, I believe, is the successor
Yeah,
to that.
I
to
believe
that
so.
company,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because that's what that is. The Magic Leap is a spatial computer.
Mhm.
The Vision Pro is a special computer as well. So maybe they had something to do
Could
with
be.
this development.
It's kind of like chat, right? Chat 3, 4, 5. We're in 5 now, I think.
Yeah.
It moves fast. Everything's moving so
AI is
fast.
another thing. That's
Yeah.
another topic we talk about all day. But the spatial computer, eventually what's going to happen is you will have a projection of a keyboard, maybe on the
I've
eyes.
seen this stuff before. Yeah, and they take 3 pins.
Awesome. So we're talking about spatial computers and how the Vision Pro is a spatial computer, and I think this is going to be a new line of products that are going to be coming out where people are going to learn what that term is and what that is, and it's going to be a thing. I think that again, right now it's not that comfortable, but they're striving to make it as comfortable as possible. But it's the first iterations of what the future of your desktop is going to be.
Right.
It started with the phone. A lot of people are doing a lot of their work on tablets and phones
Right.
and everything like that. They don't have really a desktop anymore. It's a mobile world, so that's going to be the next step of this mobile world, where your computer is going to be something that is in your real space. You're not going to.
So I saw these things. It was I think it was Japanese. I'm pretty sure it was Japanese, not Chinese. And they had 3 pins and they would go and put these 3 types of technology devices together, and it would show me a keyboard that I could actually type on, like an image of it, and then it would also put up a monitor, and then I could look at that monitor, and everything is just a projection of what I see. I'm going, that would be so cool, because then you don't have to have the big big computer or anything.
They have this thing too that you can wear. It's like a thing on your chest, or maybe you wear on your something you wear on your wrist that you go like this, and there's like a keyboard appears on your arm.
Wow.
And then it's like a hologram, and you can type like this or whatever.
So watch Black Mirror. You're going to see that kind of stuff.
See?
But you will also see that they embed this stuff into our bodies.
Yes.
So
it's
scary. It's scary stuff.
So that's beyond 2030.
So yeah. So that's when we get to what ethical dilemmas do you foresee with this type of technology?
So Ethical dilemmas, that's a really good question.
We could
not a lot
talk a
of
long
people-
time, but you only get to have a few minutes.
Yeah, not a lot of people, think about those type of things, but ethical dilemmas, I think that, it's this connection, I think that's going to be a problem.
I agree.
Even with the services that we provide, even the library, you know what I mean? Like the library is a place where people can come in and actually grab a book and actually read it,
Yeah.
Unfortunately though, you have to physically go to the library, you actually physically have to pick up the book, but we're becoming, we're in a time where people are, maybe because of COVID, we learned this, and we're locked up at home for 2.5 years or 2 years.
Isolated, to me.
And we've become that way, and we become a society that is used to having things come to you rather than you come and get it,
And there will be a day the grid goes down. And then what? Then people have to learn how to interact with each other.
We're gonna de-evolve.
Yeah. Or maybe we really evolve because now we're realizing that we really are what makes it magic to be a human.
Yeah.
Not the devices.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be the biggest dilemma or ethical dilemma is that ethics? I don't know.
No, I believe that too, because I believe that people are going to have to be taught how to be human.
Yeah.
And how to interact with each other and how not just interact. I mean, it's like communicate and to be able to know, oh, this is what it's like to give people hugs. It's like if you stay too far away from and all we do is communicate through a screen, we're in a lot of trouble.
You're seeing how we like people greet each other nowadays. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? And sometimes you go in and they don't know what to do. It's a fist bump or
no, I haven't seen that because I pretty much just go, come here, let's bring it in, let's do a hug. Yeah, but I do see other people behaving that way too. Yeah, I agree. And some of it I think is whatever generation, not some of it, I do believe whatever generation you're born into, the technology, the history, those factors begin to shape how we interact and we communicate. Yeah.
But the one thing I do think that we're trying to do here at this library, and I don't know if this is a thing that other libraries are trying to do, is that we're trying to grow with the technology. We're trying to, stay at the cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And giving people access to these tools and studying and we made a big shift a few years back when digital books were a big thing with tablets and everything like that and audio books and everything like that. And instead of putting our foot on the ground and saying, no, we're going to just be a place with books, we dabble into that, into that side. And we have a variety of digital content available at the library nowadays that you can check out.
What do you use? Audio?
We do.
I don't use the audio books or whatever it's called. There's
Libby,
a name for it.
We use Libby.
Okay.
A program called Libby for audiobooks.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of that out there, and people listen to, like books used to be books on tape, right? And then we moved to books on CDs, and now you can just listen to it on demand. And
and
that's really great.
Books. It's not just books. There's a lot of knowledge just accessing databases and accessing, videos online or something like that. It's not just the matter of reading a book, but there's just access to.
I know you guys have e-learning down there too. People can learn anything.
We have all sorts.
Like QuickBooks, whatever.
We even give all of our patrons access to LinkedIn Learning for free. You just have to use your library card, and you have access to LinkedIn Learning.
I did not know that.
Yeah, entire library of tutorials and everything like that. So you can come and learn a new language using our databases. I think our databases, access to our databases is just as strong as our.
I'm going to tell you, I learned a lot through Duolingo, but
and we have access to a program called Mango.
Yeah, Mango. You have that. Yeah. So does the Winter Park Library. Well, we are at the end of our show. So best mentoring advice that you want to share with our listeners. And we have a pretty broad range of listeners.
I think I would say is just do it.
Nike.
Just Nike. Just do it. If there's something that you want to do and you want to access or you want to try to achieve, hey, go do it. Because I'll tell you what, most of the people who become successful doing something is because they were the ones who did it. You know what I mean? It's not there's a need out there. People need a certain technology or a certain product. And you're sitting here thinking, oh, there's so many people doing that. There's so many people that want to do that, but they're not the ones doing it. So if you go out there and just make it happen and just do it, start that project, start that idea or something like that, you may be the only one that is actually doing it at the moment. You know what I mean?
That is very true.
If I would have taken my own advice back in 1997 or 98, I would have been the inventor of the iPad, but I didn't.
You would have been.
Yeah. So just do it.
Like, 20 years ahead of time. So how can our listeners find you?
So I want to give you the library, the Melrose Center blog. So make sure you go check us out at ocls.info/Melrose.
Okay.
And if you need to get in contact with me, the best way by far to get a hold of me is by accessing me through my email, which is rivera.juan@ocls.info.
Okay, we've got that. And then I also added Melrose Center's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and their YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank
you for having me here today. It was really fun.
It was fun. And I actually know so much more about you that I don't normally get to know when I go to game jams or come to the library, which you do not work on the weekends when we're there. So, yeah. It's been really nice getting to know you better.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for being a guest, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
We want to thank our sponsor, Cat5 Studios. Thank you to our video team, Gabe Laporte and Tommy Myers. Music is by Sophie Lloyd. Visit Employers for Change at www.e4c.tech to learn how you can create real diversity and inclusive culture while skilling your people for the future of work. Please subscribe and download the Intern Whisperer on Podbean, Employers for Change YouTube channel, or stream from your favorite podcast channel. Please drop us a comment and share our show to enlighten others about amazing people that make every day better.